All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Unfortunately, I hate ties, dude. I hate ties so freaking much. Unfortunately, yesterday the Washington Commanders tied to the New York Giants, but there is a silver lining, okay? The Commanders, according to, if you check one site, they have 44.4% chance. If you check ESPN, they have a 60.3% chance. To me, the Commanders are still making the playoffs, and I will take a tie over a loss. All right, I'll take a tie over a loss. Nobody is pleased with the outcome of that football game, but when you really do some digging, it just makes sense that Washington is still going to make the playoffs. Now, that game was frustrating, all right? And I think it's very clear to me that the Giants, I just have zero faith in Daniel Jones' ability to lead a playoff team, but they are so well coached. And Washington had plenty of opportunities to win the football game. Unfortunately, they just couldn't come through. Now, it sucks, but the past is the past, all right? And we got to focus on the present and focus on the future. So Washington is sitting at 7-5-1, headed into their bye week. Now, here is the good news. Here's the silver lining. The New York Giants play Philadelphia 2 more times for the rest of the season. 2 more times. In fact, Minnesota is also sprinkled on in there. So New York has one of the most difficult remaining schedules in the entire NFL. Now, Washington, you have a bye week. You come back home and you play the New York Giants, who you just tied against. You head to San Francisco. That was going to be a pickle of a game. And we hate rooting for injury, or nobody roots for injuries, I should say. We hate when injuries happen, but Jimmy G is out for the season, so San Francisco is kind of trying to figure out what they're going to do now. Come back home, you play Cleveland, and then for Week 18, you are at home against Dallas, who hopefully by then, they already have, the 3rd seed locked up, or they already have whatever seed they're in locked up, and they're just going to, not the 3rd seed, 5th seed, and they're just going to rest their starters. But because Washington took down Philadelphia a couple of weeks ago, I still believe that Washington can beat anybody on any given Sunday. So before we get any further into this video, if you guys enjoy it, hit the like button, hit that subscribe button. Apologize for the pretty much over 24 hours. I went to the Bears-Packers game yesterday, had a little foot procedure done today, so it's been a kind of crazy 36 hours. I head back home tomorrow. We're going to make plenty of Washington videos for the next 2 weeks, but it is a bye week, so hopefully these players go home and rest. That's what I need, is rest. Now, there were a couple unfortunate injuries, specifically with the center position, but that's the big thing with Washington. Chase Young, we didn't see him quite yet. Get over the flu, get over whatever. Just get healthy, Washington. Get healthy, because you hold your destiny in your own hands. The worst thing Washington can do is lose on that game against the Giants. But like I said, the good news is that New York has the Philadelphia Eagles 2 more times. But this upcoming week is going to be more critical because you never know what could happen Week 18. Maybe Minnesota is already confirmed number 2 and they're just not going to get up to the number 1 seed, and Philadelphia decides to rest their starters, or Jalen only plays 1 quarter, whatever the case may be. We want to focus on taking care of your own schedule and letting the rest fall into place. And that game against the Giants is so critical, and that's why the loss sucks. One of the Washington players was like, it's like kissing your sister. It sucks, dude. Nobody is happy from Washington side or New York side, but if it shafted a team, it shafted the Giants more than it shafted the Commanders, all right? I still personally think Seattle is definitely going to make the playoffs. I think that they have a really well-rounded football team. To me, if you beat out the Giants, you're going to get into the playoffs. And so, get healthy. You let Philly do its thing against New York next week while they're at full strength and they're running, they're gunning. You come back home for that last game against New York and you take care of business. Now, Taylor Heinicke is, to me, still the starting quarterback. I see no reason why he wouldn't be. Limiting mistakes, more limiting mistakes than Carson Wentz was doing. I think he gives Washington a better chance. Now, we already heard from Ron Rivera that Taylor's the guy moving forward. All right, Carson will be backing him up when he's ready to go. Taylor is the quarterback, to me, for the rest of the season. We'll see what happens next season and beyond, but I'm not too worried about it. I was actually reading an article earlier today. I think I have it pulled up right. No, I don't have it pulled up right here. I was reading an article earlier today, and they're talking about, all of these teams in the NFL and how they're not going to make the playoffs this year, but their future is looking bright. And we've talked time and time again about how good this Washington Commanders future looks. Defensively, offensive line, running back room, Brian Robinson Jr. You have a multitude of different receivers. We saw Jahan Dotson with a nice touchdown at the end of the game, or at the end of the regulation, I should say. You got Scary Terry. You got, there are just so many threats from offense to defense. They're well coached. They have a plan set in place. All right, but what I was getting at here is I was so surprised to see the article have the Washington Commanders in there. And I'm like, this team hasn't technically lost a football game. Technically, 7 of their last 8 weeks, they've only had 1 loss. So, yeah. Do ties suck? I mean, I'm not going to sit here and lie to you. I hate ties. But for the most part, I do think this wasn't the end of the world. So here's kind of the way I see things going. I see, however it shakes out, I see Washington winning 3 of their last 4 games. I think it's extremely favorable, especially, like I said, when we take a look at the Giants, where you have, Philadelphia twice. You have, did they have Dallas? No, they got Minnesota. It's just not the easiest of schedules. New York, or bye week, home against New York, at San Francisco, home against the struggling Cleveland Browns, home against Dallas. I see it as 3-1. That 100% gets you into the playoffs, even if you take down New York in 2 weeks from now and they, have a good end to their season. 3-1 gets you into the playoffs. And I hate when ties get introduced, so that would be 10-6-1. That's 100% a playoff team. So I'm curious to hear what you guys have to say. The good news is the defense it's just going to keep you in every football game. I don't care if you're playing, New York. I don't care if you're playing San Francisco without Jimmy G or with Jimmy G. I don't care if you're playing Cleveland with Deshaun. I don't care if you're playing Dallas. It doesn't matter to me. And I just doubled down on this after I saw that Philadelphia game. If you have the Washington Commanders defense and it's getting healthier with Chase Young coming back, the Luke Holcomb, he is out for the season. That sucks. That completely sucks. But you have studs on the line. You have studs in the safety room. You have studs experienced and young. So this defense is going to keep you in every football game. They're going to hold opposing offenses to around 20 points. They're going to hold them to it. So it comes down to putting points on the board. Taylor Heinicke doing his thing. Them coming in with a good plan, a good scheme, executing, limiting turnovers, limiting mistakes, continuing to run the ball at a high level. Let Scary Terry, let your receivers do their thing, and just have some fun. Most importantly, just have some fun, because the culture over in Washington right now is what makes them such an enticing football team. So I'm not trying to jinx it. We'll knock on wood here, but I'll take a tie. I'll take a tie because it's better than a loss when we're talking about Giants. So let me know what you're thinking about this Washington team. I know it wasn't the most promising. It wasn't a moral victory, but it could be worse, right? It could be worse. So hit that like button, hit that sub button. Let me know if you want more Commander content down below. Peace.